evening, sir. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us today. I am Elsia, and I'm here with my team members, Nick Shazwani, Elifa Michelle, Veroni, and the action was Gloria. We are working on an assignment about instructional approach and are excited to hear about your experience to differentiate instruction in your teaching. So we have a few questions to guide our discussion, but feel free to share any additional insight you think might be helpful. Thanks again for your time. Let us get started for the first question. How will you define differentiate instruction, and what does it mean to you in the context of your teaching practice?
Okay, thank you, Elsia. Good evening to all the people in the Google Meet. Okay, now, just a brief introduction about myself. So, my name is Alistair Yu. Okay, I'm a Muay teacher now. Okay, teaching in SMKSY, NIA. So far, I've experience of teaching 2 years and 6 months. Okay, so to answer your first question, so for me, differentiated instruction means that to give different level of instructions for each different classroom with students of different proficiency levels, which means that you have to give different instructions or different materials for classes with better proficiency and classes with not that good proficiency. Okay, like in other words, classes in front and classes at the back lah. Okay, so I think that differentiated instruction is very important, very crucial for everyday teaching, because every class teachers have to use different style of teaching. Okay, you cannot use the same style to teach. Every class, the students, they have different levels of understanding and proficiency in understanding what's being taught in class. So teachers have to adjust and adapt to the situation, and have to really know the students, right, how they learn, and teachers have to take extra time and effort to plan and get ready what is the best for the students. Okay, thank you.
Okay, next question. Can you describe some specific strategies or to use to differentiate content, process, and product in your classroom?
Alright, thank you, Shazwani, for the question. Alright, so some of the different techniques or strategies, okay, that are used for differentiated instruction would be for the content. Alright, I will have to choose and plan earlier. Okay, for every class that I'm teaching. Okay, for those classes in front, okay, maybe we can do more difficult exercises and materials and so on lah. But for other classes which they have a harder time learning, okay, I have to choose questions that are not too hard and also not too boring. Okay, so that otherwise they will have a hard time to understand, okay, the lesson, which means that I have to really go through the questions, because for example they are using the same textbook or reference book, but it doesn't mean that every class I can use the same materials. I have to choose. Alright, I have to choose. Alright, and also different classes, I have to use different levels of English which means that for better classes, maybe I use more English, okay, and more difficult English But for classes that are not that confident, okay, maybe I have to use easier level of English and also mix with Malay language, also with other languages. Okay, so that at least they are not too, very have a hard time to understand the lesson. Because usually classes at the back they will have because I'm teaching English, so their English will be not very smooth. Okay, they're not so confident yet. So if I use full English, it will be a hard time for them to understand the lesson. Okay, so what is the next one? Process. Okay, for process, so during the class itself, so for especially the back classes, I have to go slower and be more patient lah. Okay, I have to be more patient because if I use the same speed to teach the front classes and the back classes, the back classes will have a very hard time to understand what is being taught in class. Okay, so meaning that I have to control the speed lah, or the pace. Okay, how fast am I teaching? All right, so that they are able to keep track. So meaning to say that different classes I have to teach with a different speed. Okay, so I cannot go as fast as how I teach the front classes together with the back classes. As for project, for differentiated instruction, I will ask them to show, or point out how they get the answers, instead of me always, telling them, okay, what is the answer, then we go to the next question like that. So in order for them to learn, okay, it will be a two-way communication lah. So I will ask them, how did you find the answer? Okay, in the text, for example, in the text, which paragraph, and so on. Okay, so that at least they can show that they are able to, understand better lah. Okay, I think that's all for this question. Thank you.
Third question. Some documents you have a computer one payment differentiated instruction, and how have you addressed them?
Okay, thank you. So I think one of my biggest challenges about differentiated instruction would be it's very hard for me to to balance, to keep balance, because I have to because whenever we enter a different class, you need to have a different mindset. And for example, I enter this class, I have to teach like this. If I enter this class, I have to teach like that. So sometimes, especially when you have classes like continuous classes, it's very hard for me to adjust from one class to the other in such a short time. For example, if I teach a better class first, then when I teach another class which is like they are not very smooth, it's very hard for me to adapt. You have to change very fast to another class the way I teach. So it's a very challenging thing for me lah, because you have to adapt very quickly. So how have I addressed the problem? I have to keep reminding myself, okay, if I enter a new class, okay, for the day, I cannot use the same style that I have taught in the previous class. Okay, so meaning that depending on which class am I in lah, whether it is a good class, it is an intermediate class, or it is a lower intermediate class.
Next
So
question.
I have to make sure that I have to always remind myself
of a time
not to teach too fast.
instruction
Okay, I have to
was
slow down,
particularly
especially for those
well in your
classes.
classroom. What made it successful?
And the back classes. Thank you for the question. Thank you. Alright, so to answer this question, an example would be when I'm teaching writing. Okay, so for English, there's also always a paper or a skill about writing. So currently I'm teaching Form 6, so it is the writing technique is a bit different compared to SPM lah. You have to do the lower form and the upper form. Alright, so I have to show, okay, or explain to them, okay, what are the things that you should do and you should not do, slowly lah, okay, point by point, so that they are able to remember as much as they can, okay, what are the things that they have to take note lah, they have to be aware of. So after that, after explanation, okay, so I ask them to write the email, okay, or letter lah. So the lesson was quite just they were able to follow what I have taught them before the email. Okay, so I noticed that we must be we have to adapt lah to our students' level. Okay, not to be too rigid. We must be flexible lah. We must be flexible. So we have to think. Okay, teachers, we have to think like how they think. Okay, because so every class the way they think is different. Okay, so what are the expectations or what are they what are they expecting to learn today and things like that. So for me, we have teachers have to be able to adapt very quickly, okay, to every classroom environment lah, okay, to every classroom environment, so that each class the students are able to learn according to their own level. Okay, thank you.
Question number 5. In what ways have you observed differentiate instruction affecting student engagement and achievement in your classroom?
Alright, thank you. So to answer this question, in what ways have I observed differentiated instruction affecting student engagement? Alright, so like I mentioned just now during the earlier stages, I think differentiated instruction is very important, okay, to ensure that the students learn well, okay, they are able to learn something every day lah in the classroom environment. Doesn't matter which teacher lah or what subject. So it doesn't matter how much they learn as long as they learn something. Okay, as long as they learn something. So for every classroom, okay, when the teacher enters the class, they cannot use the same method to teach for every classroom. Okay, they have to have some differences. They have to have various techniques and styles of teaching lah. Okay, because if we use the same method, for example, we teach the better classes. Okay, maybe we use very advanced English, very high level English. If we use the same method to teach the classes at the back, or those classes that are not very good in English, it will not work for them. Alright, because maybe some of the words they don't even understand. So meaning to say that we must try to really determine what classes are we teaching and what type of style that we want to use for every classroom that we enter, right? So if we are able to use the suitable techniques or styles, okay, I'm sure that the students are able to achieve better. Okay, they are able to be more comfortable while learning, and then they will not feel feel that the lesson is too difficult for them to understand. Okay, thank you.
So the last question is from me. What kind of professional development or research have you found most helpful for improving your skill in differentiated instruction? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. So to answer this question, okay, I think that for professional development, okay, for me the method that is quite helpful would be the trial and error method. Okay, trial and error means that you have to try different types or different styles of teaching. It doesn't matter whether it works or not during the early stages, because you have to find out which one suits your class or your students the best. Okay, it's fine if, let's say, when you carry out different methods and then some of the methods it doesn't work out, it's fine. So that if, let's say, method A doesn't work for this class, so next time you try another method for that class until you find something that you think it is suitable, they are able to adapt, then you continue using that method with that class. Okay, so that is what we call trial and error. We have to use different various type of styles of teaching. Right? So this is very important to ensure that the students are not, very bored in class, or they are having a hard time to learn what they are supposed to learn. Okay, for resources, so far I've not really used much resources because I'm also quite still learning about differentiated instruction. Actually, I don't have a lot of experience. Alright, okay, but I can tell you that differentiated instruction is really very important for everyday teaching and learning process, right? Because if we don't apply this, if we only keep one style of teaching for all the classes, okay, it will be very it will affect our students. Okay, our students, the teachers at the school will have a very hard time, okay, to adjust what the teacher is teaching in class. Okay, so every teacher has to have the effort and time, to prepare every class, different class. You have to try different types or different styles to teach every class. Okay, to make sure it's all for the students. Actually, it's all for the students. To make sure that at least they really, when they go to school every day, they are able to learn something They can carry something back, okay, to their homes instead of learning nothing at school. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your time today, sir. That's all the questions we have. We appreciate your insight and look forward to the possibility of working together. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
very much. Okay.